The aircraft returned safely over the California coast. Its engines were still running, but the two crew members who had taken off that morning had mysteriously disappeared without leaving a single trace. On August 16, 1942, a U.S. Navy patrol blimp lifted into the clear morning sky for what everyone believed would be another quiet and routine coastal mission. On board were Lieutenant Ernest Cody and Ensign Charles Adams, two experienced officers who had completed many similar patrols and expected to return home before the end of the day. The weather was calm, the Pacific Ocean was peaceful, and visibility stretched for miles. Nothing suggested this ordinary flight would become one of America's greatest unsolved mysteries. As the blimp followed the California coastline, the crew continued sending routine radio reports while carefully watching the ocean below for any unusual activity or signs of danger. Everything appeared completely normal as the airship continued its assigned patrol route. Ground control received regular updates and believed the mission was progressing exactly as planned.
Contact bearing 090.
Then the crew noticed a dark object floating on the surface of the Pacific Ocean. It immediately caught their attention and they began taking a closer look from above.
Command, this is Clipper
Lieutenant
X-ray.
Cody reported the unusual sight over the radio. Ground
Continuing
control acknowledged the
as
message,
ordered.
never realizing it would become the crew's final clear communication. Several witnesses later reported seeing the blimp flying unusually low above the water, slowly circling the same location as if carefully observing something beneath the surface. A short time later, the blimp climbed back into the sky and continued flying. From the ground, everything still appeared completely normal, with no sign that anything was wrong. Suddenly, the radio fell completely silent. Ground operators repeatedly called the crew, but no one answered. What had started as a routine patrol was quickly becoming something far more mysterious. Several hours later, people along the California coast looked up in surprise. The Navy blimp had returned by itself, drifting silently across the sky without any visible sign of its crew. The engines continued running smoothly as the airship slowly crossed the hills. From a distance, nothing appeared unusual, yet something inside the aircraft was terribly wrong. The blimp gently descended toward an open hillside near Daly City. Local residents and military personnel hurried toward the landing site, expecting to assist the crew after. When investigators finally entered the gondola, they discovered an astonishing scene. The cabin was completely empty, and the two officers who had taken off that morning were. The flight controls remained in place, the radio equipment was undamaged, and the engines had continued operating. Nothing inside the aircraft suggested that a serious emergency had taken place. Maps, notebooks, navigation instruments, and personal belongings were still neatly arranged inside the cabin, making it appear as though the crew had simply stepped away only moments earlier. Even the emergency equipment remained untouched. Investigators found no clear indication that the crew had abandoned the aircraft in a desperate attempt to save themselves.
The U.S. Navy immediately launched an extensive search across the Pacific Ocean. Patrol boats, aircraft, and rescue teams worked together, hoping to uncover even the small. Day after day, the search continued across the coastline and open sea. Despite every effort, no trace of the missing crew or any convincing explanation was ever discovered. Investigators interviewed fishermen, local residents, and military witnesses. Although many had seen the blimp flying unusually low, no one reported seeing either crew member leave the aircraft. One theory suggested that a crew member accidentally fell into the ocean while observing something below, and the second officer attempted to help, leaving the blimp without anyone controlling it. However, experienced Navy officers questioned that explanation. Both men were highly trained, and abandoning the controls at the same time seemed extremely unlikely under normal. Another theory claimed they had been responding to an emergency in the water. Yet investigators never found evidence of another aircraft, another vessel, or anyone waiting to be rescued. Every possible explanation was carefully examined. Yet each theory left important questions unanswered, making the mystery even more difficult to understand as the investigation continued. After weeks of searching and reviewing every available piece of evidence, the official investigation closed without reaching a definite conclusion about the fate of the two missing officers. In the decades that followed, researchers continued studying the case. New ideas appeared from time to time, but none could fully explain all of the known facts. Even today, aviation historians still debate what truly happened aboard the Ghost Blimp. The evidence remains incomplete, leaving the final moments of the flight open to interpretation. More than 80 years have passed, yet the Pacific Ocean has never revealed what happened to Lieutenant Ernest Cody and Ensign Charles Adams after their mysterious patrol. The blimp found its way safely back to California. The crew never returned. Their final moments remain one of America's greatest unsolved aviation mysteries. What do you believe really happened?